Hi, this is Catherine of resinobsession.com, and I'm here today to show you how to make your own bottle cap magnet. Now, these are great for your refrigerator and your school locker and anywhere else magnetic, but the other neat thing is that you can wear them on those bottle cap necklaces that you're seeing everywhere. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes and show you how to make your own. So first, you're going to need to start with bottle caps. We have several different kinds for sale on resinobsession.com. This is the chrome finish with a flared open edge. We also have them with the rolled edge. You can see the differences there. You're going to do the project the same way regardless of which one you use. And we also have some colored ones. You can see this is our pink. We also have them in some other pastel colors along with some animal prints. So once you've decided to make your magnets, you want to find some clip art to put into your magnets. Now, before you ever cut them out, I would suggest sealing them on two sides with a glue. We have the Ultra Seal glue on resinobsession.com. You can also use Elmer's glue, you can use Mod Podge, but the important part is that you want to seal the image on both sides and allow it to dry thoroughly before cutting it out. Now, you're probably wondering how I got these nice little perfect circles to put inside the bottle caps. Well, head on down to your local craft store and just get a 1-inch hole punch. These will punch out perfect circles that'll fit very nicely inside your bottle caps. So now that we've sealed our images, we have punched them out, we're going to want to seal them down inside the bottle cap. Okay? So take a little bit of your glue, paint it on the inside of the bottle cap. Okay, and then put your image down in there. All right, go ahead, make sure your fingers are clean and press it down in there. Go all the way around. You want to make sure and get a nice seal, and you want to make sure that you're not leaving any air bubbles down in there. Okay, the little glue squeezes up over the edge. That's just fine. That'll help seal it down in there. It knows you got a nice tight seal that way. All right, so we're sealing down in here. And then you're going to want to put a little more glue on top and seal it on top. Okay? All right, so I'm going to do the rest of these. And then I would even suggest going back and doing a second coat just to be absolutely sure that you're not going to have any water stain issues once you put your clip art down in your bottle cap. Okay, so now that we have properly sealed our images into our bottle caps and let them dry, we're ready to pour our resin. Now, don't forget a few safety things when you're working with resin. Wear gloves. I wear nitrile gloves. Make sure you work in a well-ventilated area. Wear a respirator mask if you're very sensitive to the fumes, but be careful. You'll notice too that this surface is coated with wax paper, so that way if I do spill a little bit of resin, you can just bundle up your wax paper and throw it away. Freezer paper also works well for this. Now, for the sake of time, I've gone ahead and mixed the resin. Whatever your resin you're using, just be sure to follow the label directions, mix it properly. We do have a couple tutorials on our website that shows you how to properly mix your resin to make sure you get the proper results. So I'm going to start here with a bottle cap, and I'm going to take my resin and I'm just going to pour a little bit in, and I'm just going to kind of underfill, I guess, for lack of a better term, because if you pour in how much you think you're going to need, you can easily overfill. So I'm just going to kind of, make a spout here with my cup and just pour in a little bit. Okay? And then I'll let that spread out and see if that's what I like. There's no real right or wrong as to how much resin to put in your bottle cap. It just depends on what you like. As you can see here, it's not quite filling up the bottom yet. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in a little more. Okay, careful about your drips. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them, and then I'll show you how to get off your bubbles. So now that you've poured all your resin, now it's time to go back and get those dreaded bubbles. So there's a couple different ways you can do the dreaded bubbles. You can take something like a toothpick, say like maybe the one that you use to mix your resin with, and you'll go through carefully and try and draw the bubbles to the top, and very quickly try and scoop them out. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so the next possibility you can do is to take a drinking straw. This is just one that I've gotten from a fast food place, nice big wide end, and you just go down to the surface of your piece and lightly blow over it, and the carbon dioxide in your breath will help pop the bubbles. This works well, except that you have to be careful how much you blow, because the moisture in your breath will settle out onto the resin and keep it from curing properly. So for the bottle cap pendants, actually my preference is to use a heat gun. This is one that you'll find at a craft store. People will use them to shrink wrap, say like a gift basket, and you can buy the plastic, and the heat from this will shrink wrap the plastic. These are great for getting out bubbles. A couple things to caution you about though. There's some force behind the end of the gun, and so in this type setting where your resin's in a bezel, it's going to work very well. If you're trying to dome the resin, chances are it's going to be too much pressure to put on your resin without blowing it off, whatever you're doming. And then secondly, this also does get pretty hot on the end. You'll see that it'll get red. You will melt a mold with this if you're not careful. So obviously today we're using metal bottle caps, so it shouldn't be an issue. And so right now I'm going to go through and just blow out some bubbles. And then when I'm done, I'm going to put a plastic cover over our pieces so that they can cure without any risk of dust or, heaven forbid, cat hair. Lord knows I've ruined a few pieces that way. So I'm going to blow some bubbles and we're going to let them cure. Okay, so it's been 3 days since we've poured our resin into our bottle caps, and now we're going to check and see if they're ready. Now, theoretically, if you've mixed everything correctly and it's a good environment, everything should be fine. But for this very reason is why I always keep a little bit of my resin in the bottom of my mixing cup. So you can see here I can put my finger in, everything feels good, there's nothing sticky, so our bottle cap should be good. So let's go ahead and take off the top. And as you can see, we've got some very lovely bottle caps, no bubbles. Okay, so now I'm going to show you about putting some magnets on the back. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. Number one, if you're mixing up a batch of resin, you can use more resin to adhere your pieces to the back. Or if you've got something like a nice epoxy, specifically for jewelry making, you can do that. So you'll want to dot some of your epoxy onto your bottle cap and dot some of your epoxy onto your magnet as well. See, and that reminds me too, you can see I like to use the rare earth magnets. They're very strong, they stick very well. I mean, quite frankly, you could just stick it on the back of the magnet and then stick it to your metal piece. It's gonna stick, but certainly if for some reason you ever try and pull it off and you lose it, you're not going to have a magnet. So, but you can see it's pretty strong. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue these on. So now you can see we have our perfectly finished magnets. I'm using them on my refrigerator to hold up a calendar, but these also work great for those interchangeable bottle cap pendant necklaces. So for more information on how to complete your very own resin projects, please stop by the Resin Obsession blog or our jewelry making forum. If you have comments or questions about the project you've seen here today, please leave them in the comment box below. Thanks for stopping by.